Hello, and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Thursday, 20 March. I'm your host Daniel, and today we'll be covering the US happiness ranking has hit an all-time low. Germany has updated its travel advice for the US after citizens detained, and Israel has launched new limited ground operations in Gaza. So firstly, the United States has dropped to its lowest ever ranking in the annual World Happiness Report, placing 24th, a sharp decline from its 11th position in 2012. Germany has surpassed the US, moving to 22nd. Meanwhile, Finland has retained its top spot as the world's happiest country for the 8th consecutive year, followed by other Nordic nations including Denmark, Iceland and Sweden. The report ranks 147 countries based on factors such as social support, income, health, freedom, and corruption perceptions, with Afghanistan coming in at last place. A key factor behind the US declining happiness is the increasing number of Americans eating alone, which has risen by 53% over the last 2 decades, negatively impacting people's well-being. In 2023, 1 in 4 Americans reported eating all of their meals alone the previous day. Additionally, the US is one of the few countries experiencing a rise in deaths of despair, suicides, and substance abuse-related fatalities, while such deaths are decreasing elsewhere. The report was compiled by surveys conducted between 2022 and 2024, prior to Donald Trump's return to the White House, which has since influenced both national and global affairs. So what? While these types of surveys can be somewhat arbitrary, they can often be seen as a good barometer for change. The less happy a country is, the more likely the people are to vote for change. The next thing to watch is how does this change affect the country's happiness? The longer the country goes through this cycle without improvement, likely leads to a country's people voting for more and more extreme parties looking for a solution. And next, Germany has updated its travel advisory to the United States, emphasizing that holding a US visa or an ESTA waiver does not guarantee entry. The change follows the detention of 3 German citizens upon arrival in the US. The German Foreign Office has taken these cases seriously and clarified that final entry decisions rests at the US border. However, officials stress that the advisory does not amount to a formal travel warning. Other countries, including the United Kingdom, have also revised their guidance to highlight the strict enforcement of US entry rules, warning that travellers could face detention if they fail to comply. The recent detentions include a German green card holder held in Boston after returning from Luxembourg, a 25-year-old detained at the US-Mexico border in February, and a 29-year-old woman similarly stopped in January before being deported. These incidents come amid heightened border security measures as US President Donald Trump, who has issued executive orders tightening immigration and visa regulations. The German Foreign Ministry is now investigating whether these detentions reflect a broader policy shift. Typically, German and other EU countries enjoy visa-free entry into the United States for up to 90 days. But these cases suggest increased scrutiny at America's borders. So what? This is another developing story that could become quite serious if legal travellers continue to be detained or harassed. It is possible that this will start having implications on tourism and business travel to the country, with people not wanting to risk the hassle of being wrongly detained for longer periods of time. Though it is understandable that some people will be wrongfully detained during large-scale detentions of illegal immigrants, you would expect these people to be rapidly released and not kept in detention for several days. And lastly, the Israeli military has initiated a limited ground offensive to regain control over the key Gaza corridor. The IDF announced that their forces had re-established control in the center of the corridor a strategically significant area that divides Gaza into a northern and southern section. This marks a renewed military presence in the region following a previous withdrawal. Israeli troops had initially vacated the corridor in January as part of the ceasefire agreement. Before withdrawal, the IDF forces had patrolled the area to prevent displaced Palestinians from returning to northern Gaza. The latest operation suggests a shift in Israel's approach, potentially signaling renewed tensions in the region. So what? This is likely the end of the ceasefire for now. While it is possible that it can be revived, this is less and less likely as both sides refuse to compromise on their positions. The main issue is that Israel wants Hamas to be disbanded completely, and Hamas wants Israel to leave. Clearly, the easiest compromise would be for Israel to back down and move out of Gaza. However, this is unlikely due to their increased confidence provided by the current US administration. It now seems likely that the region will return to conflict in the next few weeks. Thank you for tuning in to the Intel Brief, your daily update on global geopolitics, brought to you by HM Intelligence. You can support the show by sharing it with your friends and leaving us a review. If you're curious to learn more about intelligence, check out one of our courses in the description below. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you next time.